Alright everyone, we've got all sorts of interesting topics today, and it was actually difficult to decide which one I was going to do first, but I chose this one because riffing on Joe Biden's always funny, number one. Number two, it is technically the most significant because you've got a chance, I consider it an outside chance, but feasibly a possibility that the next President of the United States will be a man with severe dementia problems, sort of like end stage 2 Reagan. Like I would say like Reagan in 87 or 88 is similar to how Biden acts now, only Reagan I think had more general intelligence overall. Oddly enough, not necessarily a great public speaker in many cases, especially later on in his life. Listen to it sometime. They call him the Gipper. Oh, he was such a great president and stuff. He was pretty good at speaking and stuff, but I mean, technically speaking, Obama was a better public orator. That's an unpopular opinion, I'm sure, with my own audience, so before I get ratioed, I'll move on from that particular thought of mine. Biden apparently has lied to us all. He claimed, of course, that he took the same cognitive test that Donald Trump took, which is, you know, it looks laughable because it's very elementary, like trying to tell the difference, Biden says, between an elephant and a lion, identifying basic things, doing like basic math, basic memory skills. You got to understand, it is a cognitive, it's designed to be simple. If you give someone a complex test, like, you know, high-level calculus and advanced U.S. history and stuff, most people, even people that are younger, they have no cognitive decline, but they're not going to know the answers. You choose elementary materials specifically because if a person gets to the point where they can't identify an elephant, they have cognitive decline. That's the general assumption. And you can sort of gauge that on a loose metric. It's a little bit, there's some wiggle room there, but generally speaking, if Grandpa starts being unable to identify animals that everyone can identify, you start to worry a little bit. Trump did fine. You can say that he's incoherent sometimes, and you can certainly argue, oh, he's evil, he's a bigot, whatever, but he doesn't have Alzheimer's. Biden has not taken this test. There could be, unfortunately, a reason why he has decided not to. Or maybe he took it and he's just lying and he just didn't disclose the results to the public. So he gets challenged here. And keep in mind, whenever Biden is being interviewed, whenever he's having a chat, it is a fluff piece. These people are lock, stock, and barrel either on the left or they're Biden supporters specifically. He's not talking to anyone off the cuff. When he makes a speech in public, he never takes reporters' questions. He won't answer questions anymore from private individuals either. Remember that time, you know, before coronavirus locked down the election, that he was there at that, what was it, a steel plant, I think, and he got into it with that worker about guns, and he's like getting all hot under the collar. His campaign has chosen fundamentally to hide him at this point from the public. They've decided to go with the Orange Man Bad platform and hide Biden, hoping to jerry-rig him in there by the skin of his teeth so that his VP and a cabal of oligarchs can run the country. I, of course, oppose this and will do everything in my power to stop it from happening. Look, Tim Pool the other day, he finally popped the question because Sargon was suggesting essentially that he was going to be wearing a MAGA beanie, and while Tim Pool is still very reluctantly going to vote for Trump, he has confirmed, apparently, that's going to be the case. Tim Pool is not a right-winger. Keeping this in mind, I'm seeing that more and more often. I'm seeing people in the skeptic community at this point are still iffy on Biden, like whether they can ride with Biden or whether they're going to write in like Jill Stein or something like that, I think, half the time. That's because Biden is literally demented. And he gets defensive here and becomes, as usual, Biden does, incoherent. Watch the fucking clip. And this is Sean, by the way, this is Sean King calling the dude out, saying, oh, there's something seriously wrong with you, keep him off TV. Again, a liberal individual, a cult of personality leftist, Sean King, aka Talcum X to some, definitely not a Trump fan. You couldn't possibly make an argument in a million years that he would, in a million years, vote for Trump. He's calling it out. Check the fucking clip. Biden gets challenged on this, and it's a very straightforward question. The interviewer is not being combative. And of course, it's a black dude that Biden decides. Yeah, Biden suggests that he's taking cocaine. He's like, well, did you take a drug test before this interview? Are you on cocaine? Like weird shit like that. And then he meanders off and he starts saying something with regards to a joke he made about Trump, I guess. But then he's like, oh, I'm going to say something that I'm not supposed to say. And then well, then why'd you start saying it? Could it be because when people begin dementia. Their verbal control is lower. Like if you've ever been around somebody with that kind of cognitive decline, one of the first thing that goes is their ability to sort of moderate what they say, because they just sort of speak off the cuff. You can get reliably very honest reporting from a person with Alzheimer's if it's accurate and not the result of delusions, because the filter is one of the first things that goes. I said the other day when Biden had his other gaffe there, when he was on stage and he forgot where he was, literally, another tell for Alzheimer's is that a mistake, when recognized belatedly by the individuals, is sometimes covered up with a smile that approaches a fear grimace. And that's exactly what Biden did. Again, I've seen all of these things firsthand. There's not a single doubt in my mind at this point that what the Biden camp represents is they've chosen someone who can basically be calm grandpa, white old dude, so the moderates won't flee the party because of the far left, while his VP and a bunch of other people are really the ones running the show, knowing that none of them have the finesse to get elected. They're scared Trump will be reelected. That's why they're acting this way. The fact is that no, if I were advising Biden, I would tell him to shut up too. I'd tell him to make an address to the American people really quickly. A really quick teleprompted one, of course, with nice big letters. And tell him, look, just question the legitimacy of the Trump campaign and the Trump presidency at large. It wasn't a fair election. He's just too piss poor. He was impeached. He shouldn't even be there. Something like that. Cover up. The partisans won't care. They're not going to crucify you for that. And say, look, I've got work to do because I consider myself already almost like an acting president because I actually know what I'm doing. And then don't say anything else at all. And I would tell him to skip the debates. I have a feeling that some of his staff do want him to. I wouldn't be surprised if they try to lay the groundwork for them. I wouldn't be surprised if the Democrats are talking to the potential venues and begging them to cancel and use coronavirus as an excuse at the 11th hour so that nothing else can be set up. At the very least, it would be a digital debate system, streamed on the internet or whatever. It would end up being all digital. That way, Biden and Trump wouldn't at least be in the same room. Giving an advantage to Biden is like basically just roll with it, be calm for the next hour and a half, and don't take Trump's bait, which he's obviously going to be throwing out in front of you like a goddamn 10-course feast. Don't take the bait, and all you got to do is survive the debates, Joe. All you got to do is not make any great mistakes. The problem is, in the course of 3, hour and a half, 2-hour-long debates, Biden will make mistakes. It's just a matter of whether it's a significant mistake like this, where he's getting called out even by people who are pretty diehard supporters, or like the "you ain't black" thing, or whether it's something more minor. You're stumbling over your words a little bit because of your legendary, I would say, mythological stutter. That's okay, because Trump's going to stumble over some of his words too. He's randomly going to switch topics in the middle of a sentence and do the Trump thing. He does that too. That's even Stevens. That's a 50-50 sort of situation. But Biden is demented and Trump isn't. And it's funny to see all the whataboutism when you point out on Biden's post, hey, Biden, you ain't black or something, they'll come at you with leftist-style memes, so it's like a wall of text about all of the times that Trump misspoke or something, as though it was evidence of anything. Well, Trump is willing to take the cognitive test. Biden said he did too and just confirmed that he hadn't. He was questioned about this. I think he forgot the fact that he had confirmed that he had taken the test. I don't know which one's the truth. How am I supposed to know? He could have literally forgotten. It could be that he took it and now he's lying about not having taken it. Maybe he just didn't like the results. Maybe he thought that the elephant was a lion. Maybe he couldn't tell the difference. Maybe that's why. Maybe that's why it's taking him so long to choose a running mate, by the way. They want to be real goddamn careful because they're basically appointing the next president if he wins. Not Biden going to be in control. He doesn't know what he's fucking doing. He's not going to be making any tactical decisions. You think that the military generals would allow him to make decisions? They're going to tell him, look, yeah, you're president, but we're taking marching orders from somebody else. Unfortunately, it's probably someone the public wouldn't even know who they are. It probably wouldn't even be the VP at that point. Probably George Soros or some shit like that. No thanks. That's about all. Peace out.